Good morning, Corpus, Christi, Coastal Bend, and listeners worldwide. Welcome on in to another edition of the Sunday Sports Rush right here on News Talk KEYS 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. I am your host, James Espinosa. It is episode number 141 on this Sunday, November the 26th, this post-Thanksgiving Sunday, where a lot of you guys are still going to be out there enjoying your last day of vacation before it's back to the rat race tomorrow and for the foreseeable future. It's myself, James Espinosa. I'm with my best friend, buddy extraordinaire back there. It's Aiden Ducker.
What's Gucci with it?
We got a special guest in the building with us today from Crossroads Clinical Research. It is Jerry Plemons.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Wow, can't top that introduction. Good morning, men. What an exciting Thanksgiving football. It's the pinnacle of football season, I think, is this weekend.
It is. It is. Football is at its height.
That is
the maximum it can be. It's all downhill from here, unfortunately, but we still got championship weekend of college football coming up. We still got the stretch run of the NFL coming up, the playoffs, etc. So I guess it's not downhill. We're just kind of entering the final stretches of the season.
This is where it's at max capacity.
Yes, I would agree with that. Coming up on the show, it's a big one today because last night there was some Aggie drama with their head coaching search.
What?
And in typical Aggie fashion, these people just don't know what they want. Typical Aggie math, they cannot get it right. Ross Bjork and company, I don't know what they're doing. We're going to talk about the Aggie head coaching search coming up at 9:20. At the end of hour number one, Greg Popovich wants to tell you how you should fan. Greg Popovich wants to tell you what you should do at a basketball game. And I got some thoughts for good old Greg. I don't give a damn if we're the home of the Spurs. Greg Popovich is not above reproach. I'm not like one of these little pissy San Antonio reporters out there who's afraid to talk back to Greg Popovich because, oh, my credentials are going to get revoked. Guess what? I don't have credentials. So I don't care. I'm going to say what I want about Greg Popovich coming up at 9:50. 9:30, we got some college football talk. Alabama does it. Texas is going to the Big 12 title game, and so much more. Michigan and Ohio State as well. We'll do all that. 10:30, have a special guest, Mario Herrera Jr., inside the Star. He will be on with us at 10:30 to talk some Cowboys. See what he thinks about this season and how the Cowboys have looked the past few weeks. So, big show today. Get on in, 361-882-5397. Right now, we got some Thanksgiving leftovers, and we're going to talk about the Cowboys. Because the Cowboys defeated the Commanders, the Commies of Washington, 45-10. Dominating performance from the Cowboys. 25 points scored in the fourth quarter. They shut out the Commanders in the second half. The Cowboys are 8-3. They've won 5 of their last 6 games. The Commanders, 4-8. They've lost 3 in a row. And now 5 of their last 6 games. The Cowboys continue to take care of business, Jerry Plemons.
There was a crazy stat that maybe the craziest I've ever seen where a team who has had a 300-yard passer rush for 100 yards, had less than 25 yards penalties, and there was one other one, they had never lost until Thanksgiving, and they got blown out by 25.
Yeah.
Washington played they played their game plan, but it didn't work.
Let me give credit to the Commanders because
they deserve some.
They did play pretty well in the first half. They had moments where I thought that they were going to be in this game. They gave the Cowboys some fits. There was a moment or two, no, there was 2 moments actually, where Ron Rivera showed his cowardice.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you're on the plus side of the 50, when you're in Cowboy territory.
Already a 4-7 record.
Yes. And you decide to punt from it within Cowboy territory?
He did that twice.
That's a
Twice.
cowardice move, and that showed me that Ron Rivera wasn't there to try to win that game. He was just trying to survive that game.
Well, he did it against the Eagles, and he didn't go for 2, and he could have won that game.
And he's supposed to be Riverboat Ron?
Oh, yeah, that's gone now.
I don't get it. Look, they fired Jack Del Rio, defensive coordinator, post this game.
And their secondary coach.
And the secondary coach. So those guys already fell on the sword. If I am the Washington ownership, Josh Harris, the new owner, it's time to get rid of Ron. I would have got rid of Ron after the game. Sorry, happy Thanksgiving. Boom, you're fired. And I would have promoted Eric Bieniemy to the head
Absolutely.
coaching spot because You got 7 weeks left in the season. You might as well see what Eric Bieniemy has if he could be a head coach for those 7 weeks. But yet, Washington does what they do. Washington's where they're at. They're 4-8. Now, there was a huge, monumental moment in that game. And if you got any Cowboys takes, weigh in this morning. We're here with you for the next 2 hours. 361-882-5397. Hit us up on the text line. DaRon Bland did it again. DaRon Bland, moment of the game. It's going to be one of those moments where you look at the history of the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, the biggest moments in Thanksgiving history and some of the biggest blunders that they've had on Thanksgiving. His pick six will be in the top 5. Maybe even a top 3 moment in Cowboys Thanksgiving history, in my opinion. It's up there with the Romo 5-touchdown game against the Bucs back in 2006. It's up there with the Jason Garrett performance when he had to come in on Thanksgiving and will the Cowboys to a victory. It's up there. And Jim Nantz and Tony Romo are on the call. And whenever this moment happened, Sam Howell intercepted with less than 5 minutes left in the game for a 63-yard touchdown return in which DaRon Bland had to evade 3 defenders. It wasn't just a walk-in pick six. He had to actually show some damn good athleticism. Here's the call from Jim Nantz. Jim Nantz, one of his finest moments right here. DaRon Bland making history.
2nd and 10. There it is! This is history! If Bland can take it the distance, this will be the record! Bland for the 5th time has a pick six! It's never happened in the history of the NFL!
Amazing call by Jim Nantz. I had to cut the audio short right there because Tony Romo didn't even let the moment breathe. Tony Romo just jumped right in. Oh, Jim, that was such a great call, buddy. Jim! Tony, let the moment breathe, my guy. That was Jim Nantz's call, not your call. I don't know, just broadcaster talking in me. But there we go.
Wow, I was expecting it to like celebrate DaRon Bland's accomplishment. It was such a shifty play too. He made a juke move, and what does James do? And this is why he's one of the best out there, ladies and gentlemen. He goes and rips on Antonio Ramiro Romo.
Look, I'm just saying, from one broadcaster to another. I know Tony is in the NFL. I get it. I'm calling high school games. I understand, but still, let the moment breathe instead of. Oh, way to go, Nance, buddy, old pal. Anyways.
Doesn't understand the less is more.
Yeah,
idea.
less is more, Tony. It's not all about you, my guy.
Yeah.
Popular to popular belief. It's not all about Tony.
Did you recognize it was Bland right when he cut?
Yes,
I
did.
I was like, please be 26. Please be 26.
It was him.
And when it was 26, I just started jumping
and
up
like
and down.
Aiden said, an athletic play. I mean, when he has the ball in his hands, he is pretty damn good. And look, we haven't even talked about the Panthers game that happened on Sunday. Cowboys have 2 victories in less than 7 days. And we're here, right, talking about it now. But the pick six DaRon Bland had against Carolina, the diving attempt, the roll, get up in one motion, and score a pick six, that was also very athletic.
Yeah, and that was another game where the Cowboys, started off slow. And it took them like almost 3 quarters to finally get going that game. And also, speaking of DaRon Bland, now he's favored to be a first-team All-Pro.
Yes.
And in a year that y'all lost Trayvon Diggs, the end was nigh. It still hurts not having Diggs there. This would be an even better defense than it is right now. But you have DaRon Bland stepping up, this is what Kelvin Joseph was supposed to be. DaRon Bland coming out of the shadows and just becoming a star.
5th-round pick out of Fresno State.
Another player y'all got to pay, but...
Well, eventually,
when the time comes.
But those are good problems to have.
Good problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are good. When you have to start paying your draft picks, that means you've hit. Those are great problems to have. 361-882-5397. So DaRon and the defense did well.
He reminds me. He's kind of like Trayvon Diggs a few years ago without the giving up a bomb every other play.
Okay,
I'm talking about 2021 Diggs, not the one from last year when he was better.
Young Trayvon Diggs, yes.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Cowboys get the victory 45-10. Another person who's playing quite well, ladies and gentlemen. And it shouldn't come as no surprise. It's Dak Prescott. Prescott, on Thanksgiving, 22 of 32 passing, 331 yards, 4 touchdowns, a 142.1 passer rating. Dak threw TD passes to CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Rico Dowdle, and Kevontae Turpin. Prescott over his last 6 games, 1,874 yards passing. That's 312 per game. 18 touchdown passes, 2 rushing TDs, and only 2 interceptions. He's playing like an NFL MVP right now, Jerry Plemons. I know people might not want to put him in that higher echelon right now. People are going to say, well, look who they played. Yeah, they played their NFL schedule. Congratulations. Everybody else plays the same schedule. Everybody else plays an NFL schedule just like the way the Cowboys do. He's playing like an MVP, Jerry Plemons. I think that's a fair assessment.
There's 2 camps on Dak. Either you love him or you hate him, and the haters have been a little hard to find as far as them speaking out.
They've been missing. I swear on everything. On my social media feeds, the past 6 games that Dak Prescott has been tearing up the NFL, I've had nobody comment negatively about Dak Prescott. Those trolls come out when Dak is at his
after
weakest.
the Niners game, they were everywhere.
Gosh, they're like insects. They're like little roaches. They come out and they feast. But past 6 games, where y'all at? Y'all guys are quiet.
Now let me interject because y'all 2 are the Cowboys fans, right? I consider myself the most objective Dak Prescott analyzer, so to speak.
Analysis. That's
Analyst.
a weird word. Analyst. There we go.
I can't even.
That's a tough word. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I will say he is playing like a elite quarterback so far. However, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the Matt Ryan MVP year where, like, during the middle of the season, it was like he's having a great year, but is it too far to call Matt Ryan an MVP? And then he lit the league on fire from, like, November to December on, and he won the MVP that year. It's possible this is something similar because Dak and Matt Ryan are kind of,
Well, this leads, your point leads into what is our question of the day right here on the Sunday Sports Rush, 361-882-5397. The Cowboys are 8-3. They got 6 games left in the season. Let's see, 8-3. That's 11 plus 6, 17. Yeah, okay, so I did the math.
And there's you got the Seahawks, Eagles, Bills, and Dolphins. 4 good teams.
Yes.
The Eagles are an elite team. The other 3 teams are good, but still.
So here's the question.
Yeah.
To the listening audience, 361-882-5397. With 6 games left, the Cowboys are 8-3. Home versus the Seahawks, home versus the Eagles, at Bills, at Dolphins, home versus Lions, and then at Commanders to end the season. Cowboys are 8-3. This question is simple. How do they finish the year? What is their record at the end of the year? 8-3 with the toughest slate coming up. What is the Cowboys' overall record at the end of Week 17? And if you do have the Cowboys suffering some losses, let me know who they lose to. 361-882-5397. Jerry, take the first crack at this one.
I saw you post this earlier, and I want to say 4-2, but I'm looking at 3-3. I just got that negativity still. All the road games against some really good teams. 3-3.
So 3-3 will put them at 11-6.
11-6. Make the playoffs, and
that's not bad. Wild card team.
That's what
probably
I'm afraid
the
of.
best wild card team at 11-6, maybe. Aiden Ducker, real quickly before we hit the break. What do the Cowboys finish the season?
I think they get one more loss.
That's it?
One or two more.
So if they get one more loss, they're 13-4.
Probably maybe 2 more. I think they beat the Eagles in a rematch.
Wow.
It's in Jerry World.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of shocked to hear you say that.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about
that gives me optimism.
I'm a little worried about going up to Buffalo, saying it's a bad weather environment.
I think Buffalo will be tough.
And then I think y'all can beat the Dolphins.
I'm not worried about going to Miami.
The Lions.
No, I think the offense scares me.
I know the Lions are struggling recently, but when the Lions get things going, they're pretty tough to beat. That's another game I'm a little worried about. But
yeah.
Other than that,
you got 13-4 as the ceiling.
Now I don't know if they're going to win the division, but
yeah,
they should be at least the top wild card spot.
Wow. All right. So that's the question of the day. 6 games remaining. Cowboys are 8-3. Toughest stretch of the season to come. What do the Cowboys finish? What's going to be their final overall record? They're playing great. They're beating the teams they should beat. But the tough part is coming up. 361-882-5397. Get your takes in on the text line. When we come back, I got a couple of more little Cowboys nuggets to get to you. And then, what is going on in College Station? That head coaching search is a mess. We talk all that and more on the Sunday Sports Rush. Sunday Sports Rush, James, Aiden, and Jerry with you till 11 a.m. If you want to get in and be a part of the show, hit us up on our text line, 361-882-5397. I repeat, 361-882-5397. That is absolutely free. Shoot us a text. Give us your thoughts on all things sports because it's getting hot this morning. In about 10 minutes, we'll break down the entire college football slate. We'll do that for you. It was a big day yesterday in the college world. Michigan, Ohio State, all the big rivalry games. I saw some Florida State, Florida. I saw a little bit of Washington, Washington State. I was immersed yesterday in the college game, and for good reason because I was trying to keep tabs on some of the scenarios for the Texas Longhorns. We'll dive into that in about 10 minutes. But right now, we're going to continue just a little bit more of a Cowboys discussion because I did have a Dak Prescott nugget I wanted to throw out there. We're talking about Dak Prescott and how well he's been playing in the past 6 games. 18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, roughly 1,800 or so passing yards in the past 6 contests. Well, this is where Dak Prescott ranks in the NFL. Overall rankings as a quarterback. He's first in touchdown passes with 23. He's second in completion percentage, 70%. Second in QBR, 75.4. Second in quarterback rating, 107.4. Fourth in passing yards, just slightly above 2,900 yards. Fourth in yards per attempt, 7.9. So he's getting the ball downfield. Those are all top 5 numbers. Hell, those are the 4 out of 6 of those stats are top 2 numbers.
He can do that? He can throw the ball downfield?
Yeah, wow. What? Dak Prescott can throw the ball downfield? Whoa. Who would have thought, right? The Cowboys are now on a 13-game home winning streak. AT&T has become a fortress. This hasn't been done since the 1979-1981 Dallas Cowboys. And no team in NFL history has won its first 5 home games of the season by more than 20 points. Cowboys are blowing teams out at home. And those are just some of the nuggets I wanted to get to. I think those are very important to get out there. This entire stretch of football, the Cowboys have gone from 5-3 to 8-3. And they're blowing out their opponents 127-37 combined over the past 12 days, which includes Giants, Panthers, Commanders. 127-37. Taking care of business.
Something else you got to consider in this is how well the offensive line has been playing these games, because Dak is getting lots of time back there, and Terrence Steele he's stepping his game up.
He's looking good.
Well, ever since that Eagles game.
Yeah.
The Eagles game, he was awful.
Looking a lot better, especially in the
But
run.
maybe the injury, he's getting his movement back. But
I would hope so.
But I think the offensive line is a big part of why Dak is where he's at.
361-882-5397. Get your takes on the text line. Let's jump into some college football because Texas A&M. Last night when I went to bed at about 11 o'clock, I know that's a little bit early for some of you guys out there, but I went to bed with the notion that Mark Stoops, the Kentucky head coach, the brother of Bob Stoops, I went to bed thinking Mark Stoops would be the head coach of Texas A&M. I wake up this morning to a Brent Zimmerman tweet saying that Mark Stoops is out of contention for the A&M job. And last night, social media was ablaze. Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. All the A&M fans are throwing a big old hissy fit because AD, athletic director Ross Bjork, was rolling with Mark Stoops. Everybody was saying, you can't bring in Mark Stoops. Mark Stoops was mediocre at Kentucky. Mark Stoops ain't the guy that's going to get us a national championship contention. A&M fan, clean out your ears. Go grab a Q-tip. Get some hot water. Do whatever you got to do. Fix yourself up a nice coffee. You need to hear this. You are not a national championship contender. You never have been a national championship contender.
There was 1 year in 2020.
1 year with Johnny Football.
No, and the 2020
The 2020
year.
COVID year when I will agree they probably should have made the college football playoff over Notre Dame.
Other than those 2 years, though, it's been
You're
mediocre.
Mid.
Yeah,
You're
mid.
mid. You are the definition of a mid-college program.
With #1 recruiting classes year after year. That's the crazy part.
That is the crazy part. And so I will defend Ross Bjork in this sense. He went out and tried to get a football coach who's going to actually coach these boys up. He didn't go out to try and get the glitz and glamour, the Ryan Day rumors, the Dabo Sweeney rumors, the
Sweeney. Wow.
Kalen DeBoer rumors. He didn't try to go out there. He actually wanted a football coach in Mark Stoops, who is a pretty damn good football coach who comes from a football family.
Yeah.
So I get the sense that he wanted a football coach, but the A&M fan base sabotaged that. The A&M fan base started crying and bitching and moaning, and Ross Bjork went back, and all of a sudden Mark Stoops is not in contention. Ross Bjork has no spine.
And another thing
None.
too, like I understand like Kentucky when they play against like a good team, they always lose. But Kentucky was like a perennial doormat in football before Mark Stoops was their coach.
He had a 10-win season with Kentucky.
I mean they're winning football games and with less resources, by the way, than what A&M would offer as well.
Check this out. A&M's record, 7-5, 4-4 in the SEC. Kentucky's record, 7-5, 4-4 in the SEC. A&M Aggies, you are the equivalent to Kentucky football.
Wow.
Think about that. You are Kentucky football. You're not the top echelon in the state. That's the Texas Longhorns. You're never going to be that. I was a little bit apprehensive with the Mark Stoops news, but then it kind of made sense to me because he's a football guy. A&M needs a football guy.
Desperately.
You don't need a male model on the sidelines being your football coach. And that's the problem with Texas A&M. They want to be glitz. They want to be glamour. They want to be treated like a top 5 program. They want to be in that top of the top. But you're not. You have false hopes, delusions of grandeur.
That's what they live off of.
And that's fine.
The idea they can get to the promised land one day.
And you know what? They can have that delusion all they want.
That's their fuel.
But they've been trying. They tried to go big with Jimbo. Didn't work. So now you're not in the Mark Stoops race. Now the coaching search is wide open again. And now here comes the Dabo rumor. Here comes the Ryan Day rumor. Here comes Dan Lanning rumors out of Oregon.
That's not going to happen, though, now.
I said this last week. Go with Jeff Traylor.
That's...
Enough sizzle, Jerry Plemons. I need steak.
But how are the A&M fans going to... Well, UTSA, this is what program is that? They want the big name. They want the guy from... They want Oregon. They want... They think that they can get the top coach, and the guy from Kentucky couldn't get the job now.
361-882-5397. I got Ryan L. in here, who's our noted Aggie fan. Ryan L. says, get this, I honestly think we should have kept Jimbo another year.
Yes.
Because all of our major SEC losses under him this year were by 7 points or less. I actually thought things were slowly but surely heading in the right direction this season despite our mid-record, and that a little more patience would have paid off. On another random note, in my opinion, I think the most improved college football team that I was impressed with this season would be the Kansas Jayhawks. Okay, so maybe go get Lance Leipold from Kansas. That'd be a great hire. But wow, see, A&M fan is now, they're so just turned upside down by what their spineless athletic director Ross Bjork did, bowing down to the fans. You know what happens when you cave to the fans? You eventually become a fan, Ross Bjork. And you're on that track, my guy. Stick to your convictions one time. If you felt Mark Stoops was the guy, stick with it. But instead, you let this Aggie cult get in your head, and now you're in another coaching search. You are a mess. Mm-hmm. College Station is a mess of a program. And Ross Bjork, my goodness, dude. Go take some notes, man.
And with a smile on your face, you're loving every minute of it.
I love this. More college football talk to come. We're breaking down the slate from yesterday. Stick around, 361-882-5397. Hit us up on the text line. It's the Sunday Sports Rush. Sunday Sports Rush, episode 141. It's James, Aiden, and Jerry with you till 11 a.m. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we dive into the Greg Popovich controversy from Wednesday night. Greg doesn't like when you boo at the new Frost Bank Center. Apparently, he forgot what home court advantage is. Apparently, he forgot that fans pay to be there. But then again, Greg Popovich, very outspoken, I'd say. And he got himself into a little bit of a Spurs controversy. We'll talk about that coming up in 15 minutes. We got Jerry Plemons with us, Crossroads Clinical Research. Jerry, Give us the latest on what's happening with you guys at Crossroads.
You know, the holiday seasons are great, but there's one bad part about it, and that's that you need some cash to get the kid gifts. And what we offer here, how about you can come see us, you enroll in one of our studies, get $100.
Nice.
That's our normal starting price is $100 per visit. So if you need some cash in the holiday season, you need some quick cash, come see us.
Awesome. Where can they go and visit you guys?
Call us at 361-288-4668. Say you want to come by, and we'll have some paperwork for you to fill out, maybe do some lab tests on you. And if you qualify for one of our studies, get paid same day.
There we go. Jerry Plemons right there. Crossroads Clinical Research. We thank you so much, Jerry, for being a part of us and supporting our show from pretty much the beginning.
Yes.
So pretty awesome. 141 episodes in, and Jerry's been with us, as the kids say, excuse me, ride or die. So Jerry's riding with us, so there we go. We got some reactions to the Ross Bjork A&M situation. We're talking college football. We're going to continue that discussion. Scott Malone is in here on Twitter, the Corpus Christi Islanders head baseball coach. Scott is saying that yesterday did not help. The whole mess that happened with A&M yesterday did not help for future candidates, because as we were talking about, how can you trust a person like Ross Bjork who's just going to pull a contract from a coach because of public pressure? Scott Malone is saying yesterday did not help the cause for the Aggies, and I have to agree with you, Coach. I'm thinking that as well. So there we go, 361-882-5397. If you got any takes, make sure you get them in. Cowboys question of the day. Cowboys are 8-3, 6 games left. What do they finish the season with? What's going to be their final record? Frank's in here. Frank says Cowboys go 3-3, wins versus Seattle, Buffalo, and Washington, and losses versus Philly, Miami, and Detroit.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Adrian says 5-1 during this stretch, a 13-4 final record. He says the Dolphins or the Lions will be the loss. So a lot of confidence in Cowboys Nation. 361-882-5397. Continue to send in your text. We will read them throughout the duration of the show. All right, let's talk some more college football, because yesterday we had ourselves quite the slate. It was rivalry weekend in the college football hierarchy. Number 2, Ohio State visited number 3, Michigan. Michigan, of course, without head coach Jim Harbaugh, suspended for 3 games for the sign-stealing allegations.
Real quick, I'm sick of Michigan acting like this is some sort of like travesty that's happening to Coach Harbaugh. They're all emotional. Oh, we did this for you, Coach. Shut up.
They love their coach. Wow.
I don't care, dude.
Somebody,
I don't even hate Michigan as a brand.
Good
It's just
grief.
like, stop being such pansy little babies. Wow. Okay, there we go. Okay, continue.
All right, Aiden had to get that off his chest. Go, hey, this show is yours as much as it is mine and anybody else who sits behind this mic, all right? Michigan defeats Ohio State 30-24 for the 3rd straight season.
Wow.
Ohio State falls to Michigan, and Ryan Day just can't get over that Michigan hump. And there's a lot of Ohio State fans this morning, and even yesterday after the game, saying, we got to move on from Ryan Day. You know what's the craziness about that? He's 0-3 against Michigan.
Well, 1-3.
1-3 against Michigan, excuse me.
Although that one win was against a bad Michigan team in 2020, so. Yeah.
COVID year, etc. Yes, okay. 1-3 against Michigan. 0-3, obviously, 3-game losing streak. Against all other Big Ten opponents, 40-0. But these Ohio State fans want him gone because he can't beat Michigan. That's how incensed, that's how insane college football is. 3 losses, but those 3 losses to your rival, you're gone.
Yeah, Urban Meyer was able to get the job done.
Yeah, but it's cost them shots in the national championship every year.
They were like a possession away from winning it last year.
That's true.
Still, like, it is. If I were a Ohio State fan, I'd be frustrated losing to Michigan 3 times in a row like that.
Yeah, and they got throttled twice by Michigan in 21 and 22. This was
a good game.
Yeah, it was a competitive game, but in the end, Michigan just bully balled Ohio State. They ran it down their throat. Blake Corum and company. J.J. McCarthy made some nice throws. So and it was an impressive win by Michigan, and now they move on to the Big Ten title game against Iowa, who Iowa just played Nebraska, and the over-under was like 24 points, and guess what? The under hit. That is just ineptitude of offense. I think Michigan's going to blow the doors off of Iowa. Michigan will be in the playoff. Washington, number 4, escapes Washington State 24-21. Game-winning 42-yard field goal hit by Grady Gross as time expired, and the Washington Huskies 12-0. That's a team that Texas probably needed to lose.
Yeah.
They're 12-0. They're going to the Pac-12 title game against Oregon next Friday.
Because that Washington lost, the loser of that game would have been out of the playoff.
Pretty much.
I'm guessing y'all are probably going to root for Washington to beat Oregon to get them out of the way. Because if Oregon beats Washington, you have 2 one-loss teams that beat each other. That's going to complicate things.
Yeah, it would. Things didn't go Texas's way this weekend.
Not at all.
Number 5, Florida State goes into the swamp with their backup quarterback, Rodemaker. 24-15, they beat the Gators. Pretty close game, to be honest with
Florida
you.
really sold at the end.
In the fourth quarter, Florida State scores 10 points. They shut out Florida State in the fourth quarter. And Florida State pulls out a gutsy, gritty win with a backup quarterback in the swamp. Tough place to play, but Florida State's 5-7. They're not going to a bowl game.
I mean Florida.
Florida's 5-7. They're not going to a bowl game. Thank you. And Billy Napier, Florida head coach, hot seat. Hot seats.
Yeah,
and that's not a good program right now.
And in terms of the future, UT fans are gonna root for Louisville to beat Florida State.
Yes, that is something that Texas needs to root for. Root for Louisville to knock off Florida State. 12-1 Florida State without Travis Jordan Travis.
Jordan Travis.
I was gonna call him Travis Jordan. Without Jordan Travis, 2 first names. I mean, kind of tough sometimes. That would be interesting. Now, the game of the day, in my opinion. Number 8, Alabama at Auburn. The Iron Bowl. Jordan Hare Stadium. Auburn was winning. Auburn was up. Auburn, it looked like they had this one. Auburn had so many moments to close this game out against Alabama. They stopped Alabama. When they stopped them on the 4th down or the 3rd down.
With they stopped on 4th down deep in Alabama territory with 4.5 minutes left.
Yes, and then
Alabama punts, hoping to get a stop, and instead the stupid punt returner muffs the punt. Already, bad mistake number 1. Then they let Jalen Milroe get 19 yards on a scramble in 3rd and 20, and then they convert the 4th down, which should be easy to convert. And then Alabama decides, hey, we don't want to win. I'm gonna hike the ball past over Jalen Milroe's head, lose 15 yards there. I still don't want to win this game. I'm gonna throw Jalen Milroe decides I'm gonna throw the ball 4 yards past the line of scrimmage, loses another 10 yards.
Yep.
So now it's 4th and 31.
4th and 31.
You have to make it. You have to get into the end zone to convert.
Seconds remaining in the game. They have to convert, as Aiden said. Here's Brad Nessler and CBS on the call and what will be remembered as one of the greatest plays in Alabama Iron Bowl history.
That's all it is. But there's a lot of airspace to cover for Milroe. Still looking. Firing. Near corner. It's caught! Touchdown, Alabama! Isaiah Bond! On a 4th and a mile.
What a play, what a throw, what a call from Brad Nessler.
Okay, first of all, I know me and you don't like Bama either, or I hope you don't. Actually, you kind of root for them.
I don't mind them.
A logical college football fan hates Bama, so I guess you're not one of those. But anyway.
Well, you could also say a casual college football fan hates Bama.
Yeah, but I'll give Jalen Milroe credit. That was a really good throw. However, the Auburn DB, all he has to do is turn around and he bats the ball. And he just decided, I'm not going to turn around. Come on.
Hey, credit where it's due. 4th and 31. Alabama made the play when they needed to. Jalen Milroe threw an absolute dart to Isaiah Bond. Bond made the catch in the corner of the end zone. Auburn fans were dejected. And now this does keep slim hopes for Alabama alive. They go to the SEC title game next weekend and face undefeated Georgia. 11-1 Alabama, undefeated Georgia. That's going to be a hell of a matchup.
I remember a couple years ago when Bama beat Georgia in the SEC title game, but they had Bryce Young. I don't know. Jalen Murrow, he's turned it around this year, but he's not Bryce Young.
Speaking of Georgia, they defeated Georgia Tech in Atlanta.
This was kind of a close game.
Yeah, Georgia Tech kind of made it close at the end. They scored 10 in the fourth quarter to make it within a one-score game. Georgia wins the game 31-23 over Georgia Tech.
I would think, Georgia's been an absolute unit. Still haven't lost since that SEC title game a couple of years ago. I think they know the stakes that are in play with all these other undefeated and one-loss teams still alive.
Now, let me ask you guys a question, and the listening audience, 361-882-5397. If Alabama defeats Georgia, Alabama's in, right?
Gotta be.
Probably number 4, but yeah, they're in.
Does Georgia fall out?
It depends. If Georgia gets blown out, like they did in the SEC title game a couple years ago, I think they're out. If it's a close game, they're going to probably find a way to put them in. I know Michigan will be in. I'm guessing Washington, if they win, will be in. But the Florida State thing is a because Florida State hasn't lost.
They haven't lost. There's a scenario here. There's a crazy scenario here, somehow, some way, where all 4 college playoff teams are undefeated. And that would be the first time in history. And there's also a scenario where there's a 5th team who's undefeated who doesn't get in.
But then there's another angle, too. UT
beat Bama.
So now are you going to debate whether UT or Bama deserves?
No.
But then you got the SEC people be like, how is the SEC team not going to be in the playoffs?
This is what will happen. Okay, if Bama beats Georgia, Bama's in. Georgia with 1 loss. Texas with 1 loss. Texas beat Bama. Texas is in. Texas beat Bama on the road. Texas is in over Georgia because Texas will be a conference champion also in that scenario.
But I would think Georgia knows the stakes that are in play.
I
don't expect...
We're just hypothetically speaking, that's a way that Texas could possibly get into the playoff.
Georgia, it seems Bama's offense relies on Jalen Murrow too much. Georgia has a dynamic of players
in a weird way, Texas's success and possibility to get into the playoff is tied to Alabama's success because Texas beat Bama on the road in Tuscaloosa. That's the best win in all of college football all year.
UT needs a little bit of help for them to make it.
Well,
this would have been a perfect year to start the 12-team playoff. By the way, this would have been the year.
361-882-5397. That pretty much wraps up our college football discussion. Championship weekend, SEC title game, Georgia versus Alabama. Big 12 title game, Texas versus Oklahoma State, which is pretty surprising. Mike Gundy, shout out to the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. 9-3. They almost blew it yesterday to beat BYU.
You know what? That was another game UT needed to go their way, which didn't, because I know y'all would have loved to get that revenge against Oklahoma.
Would have been nice.
Could have been a makeup like, hey, we defeated Oklahoma. We got them back.
Florida State versus Louisville in the ACC title game.
Now, Louisville was also another one-loss team, and they lost. That was like the only game that went y'all's way.
Hey, they lost to Mark Stoops' Kentucky Wildcats. Wow, but Mark Stoops sucks as a coach. He's not good enough for A&M where we go 8-5
now Louisville,
every year.
Now Louisville's good enough to beat Florida State.
They are,
especially without Jordan Travis playing.
Yeah,
I probably would favor them, honestly.
Oregon versus Washington, Pac-12 title game.
I think I'm gonna say this: y'all need Oregon to lose that game.
And Michigan versus Iowa in the Big Ten title game.
And then also you still have, I'm pretty sure they're probably out, but Ohio State's still laying there with 1 loss.
Yeah, but they're not going to be a conference champion.
Yeah, that's what's going to hurt. This is the year where it's like,
you have to be a conference champion this year. There's too many good teams.
Yeah.
Too many good teams. And that wraps up our college football discussion. Get in on the text line, 361-882-5397. We're with you till 11 a.m. Hour 1 is almost done. But guess what? Coming up next, Greg Popovich thinks he's better than you. Greg Popovich doesn't care that you pay for your seat to get into Frost Bank Center. Greg Popovich doesn't care that he's fielding a 3-13 Spurs team. All Greg Popovich cares about is poor little Kawhi Leonard. We talk about that coming up next. Sunday Sports Rush, episode 141. James, Aiden, and Jerry with you till 11 a.m. Coming up in 10 minutes, we're going to pick some NFL games. Doing it a little bit early today. We got a guest at 10:30. It's Mario Herrera Jr. of InsideTheStar.com. Going to pick his brain on all things Cowboys. That's coming up at 10:30, so make sure you're staying by that dial for that appointment listening. Shout out to Chuck in the DFW. He's in here on the text line, 361-882-5397. Chuck says that Farmageddon was awesome in the snow. And if you don't know what Farmageddon is, that is Iowa State versus Kansas State. And last night they played in what looked like a damn blizzard out in Manhattan, Kansas. And Iowa State won 42-35. A pretty high-scoring Big 12 game, but in the snow. I'm surprised it was such a high score in the snow. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't see a single lick of this game, Chuck, but I did see some highlights. It did look pretty awesome. So,
Yeah.
shout out to Chuck in the DFW for being a great friend of the show. 361-882-5397.
Farmageddon,
So that's what they call their game.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing but farm. Okay,
Yeah,
I get it now.
Farmageddon. Iowa State and Kansas State. So there we go. All right. I've been teasing it. Let's go into a Spurs report. It's been a while since we've done a Spurs report. Matter of fact, we need to catch up with our good friend Jeff Garcia of Ken's 5 San Antonio pretty soon
Wrong thing. Hold on.
to talk about the Spurs. Yes, that was a misfire. It's all right. Once a show. That's what we do here.
I'm actually trying to look for the basketball thing because
Sports
I'm
Rush?
not. It's not even.
Did you take it off?
Well, we've been playing the Webby thing, but we really shouldn't be playing it.
Look for the basketball one if you can. I'm just going to go ahead and get started with this because the Spurs right now are 3-13. They're 8.5 games back of the 1 seed, which is not going to happen at all. They're about 4 games back of the play-in. The Spurs have lost 11 in a row. 11 in a row. Now, San Antonio hasn't won a game, a single basketball game, since November the 2nd. We're coming up on a full month, and that's when they had that great week where they beat the Suns in back-to-back games, and everybody was thinking, oh, man, this team is different. This team's going to compete.
They led by 20 against Toronto, but they blew that game, and since that game, they just they haven't won a game since then. That was a month ago or 3 weeks ago?
Since November the 2nd. Almost a damn month ago. 3-13. Tonight they play the Nuggets at 7 p.m.
That'll be rough.
That's going to be rough. But the story of the week for the Spurs, because they suck so bad, this was the story of the week. Wednesday night against the Clippers. Spurs coach Greg Popovich grabbed the PA announcer's microphone during Wednesday night's game against the Clippers and asked the home fans to stop booing while former Spurs standout Kawhi Leonard shot a pair of free throws. Leonard stepped to the line with 3:06 left in the second quarter. The crowd began booing during Leonard's first free throw. What? No way! Wow! The crowd is booing an opponent while he's shooting a free throw? What? Oh my God! Wow! This crowd is so hostile.
But it's not any opponent. It's Quamp.
I want to hear Greg Popovich sounding like a pompous ass, trying to get the home crowd of San Antonio to shut up while they're trying to boo an opponent at the free throw line. Here's Greg Popovich being a total simp for Kawhi Leonard.
% from the line on the season. And Kawhi with 8 points tonight, 3 of 5 from the floor. It is only 3.
Excuse me for a second.
Pops on the
Can we
mic.
stop all the booing, let these guys play? It's got no class. It's not who we are. Knock off the booing.
Pop telling the fans to lay off Kawhi Leonard. But that's not San Antonio.
Wow.
That's not San
Yeah.
I
Antonio.
cannot
Wow.
believe the gall of Greg Popovich to do that. I cannot believe he would do that to his home fan base, neuter his home fan base. Your team sucks. You're 3-13, and you're worried about Kawhi and his little feelings? Worry about your freaking squad, Pop. You suck. You've lost it, bro. Like, literally, go feed Pop some applesauce and go roll him into the corner. He's done.
Okay.
Like, I'm tired of it, dude. I'm tired of him being condescending towards others. He says, this is not how we act. This ain't class. Why don't you act with some class when you're speaking to the media, you big doof? You're a hypocrite, Pop.
And this was
Just
tolerable whenever the team was winning, right? It was
no. I would have been on his ass even if he did that back in the Duncan days. You don't do that to your home fan base, Jerry Plemons.
I don't know. It's Kawhi. There's a history there.
I don't give an F about Kawhi Leonard. There's a bad history with him.
But there's also a great history that you got to kind of remember.
He snaked his way out of San Antonio.
Okay.
He snaked his way out of every team he's been to.
Okay, I mean, I will say I'll agree with Jerry on this one. I mean, well, I don't know how you feel about this right now, but man, the grudge Spurs fans have on Kawhi, I mean, it's worse than most Corpus women.
Oh, wow.
Man.
Oh, my God.
And man.
A player leaves your team on bad terms, and all of a sudden we're just supposed to forget that? Guess what? You know what fan is short for? Fanatic.
Yeah.
You don't forget. We're crazy. And Greg Popovich wants to go ahead and stick up for Kawhi Leonard during a game? Like, dude, who do you think you are, bro? Telling paying customers how they should behave?
The one thing I agree with is that the team is bad, and there's a priority. There's a thing with priorities in terms of like, hey, you need to focus on your own team. I forgot to send this to you, James, but I saw a meme. You know that Gordon Ramsay meme where he's all nice to the kids, but then he's like really like mean to the adults. That's how Pop is with like the young players. It seems like he's not yelling at them as much as he used to. All the veteran players he had, he would yell at Tim Duncan, Parker, Manu.
Greg Popovich has yelled more at the fans than he has his own team.
Yeah.
And that's sad. This ain't the Greg Popovich I once knew. Greg Popovich once wanted nasty. Greg Popovich wanted that crowd to be fierce and ferocious. And guess what? This ain't the first game Kawhi Leonard's been back in San Antonio. We've been booing his ass for 5 years, and this is the moment Greg Popovich wants to step up.
My issue with the team is that it seems like there's like an organic tank going on, and I feel like it's way too early in the season. The whole Jeremy Sohan point guard thing sucks. Really mind-boggling. It's a player that's playing out of position, essentially.
And people want a champion. Well, Greg Popovich, he won us all these titles. Greg Popovich won the title in 2014. That was 9 years ago, bro.
This is San Antonio.
I don't care.
This is a lower-end franchise.
Don't care.
He's done amazing things.
He did great things.
And he could have left
a decade ago.
He could have left to go to the Lakers or
the
Knicks.
See ya.
And
he could leave all he wants.
Another point is that there's a big parallel with Pop and Belichick. Too, in terms of like their franchise players leaving and there's not as much success.
Wow. I have a stat for you.
Yeah.
Greg Popovich without Tim Duncan, 8 seasons without him. 5 losing seasons, 2 first-round exits, 294, 323 overall record, a 476 winning percentage, 12-16 in the playoffs.
They did win 61 games a year after he retired.
I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. Greg Popovich was nothing before Duncan got there. Duncan made Popovich.
I mean, well, Popovich didn't start coaching until Duncan, was drafted.
He coached a little bit before.
No, he fired Bob Hill, remember?
Yeah. And he took over the season. And he coached before.
Did he? Well, I thought it was in between.
So, there we go. Greg Popovich is a pompous ass. Greg Popovich thinks he's better than you. Greg Popovich wants to tell paying fans how to act. Focus on your team, Greg. You're 3-13. You guys suck. You guys are lucky you even got a segment on my show this morning. Because that's how uninteresting you are. Y'all guys got the number 1 overall pick, and the talent around him is complete garbage. It's pathetic. The Spurs are a far cry from what they used to be. That title came 9 years ago. Enough of this slurping Greg Popovich's ass.
There needs to be a lot of fixes to the roster, man.
Fix it, Greg, and quit yelling at the fans, you old fart. Hour 2's coming up next. We pick NFL games. Sunday Sports Rush. Keep it locked. Good morning, Corpus Christi, Coastal Bend, listeners worldwide. Hour number 2 of the Sunday Sports Rush on News Talk KEYS, 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. Not a good morning to Greg Popovich. He's on my S list.
I'm genuinely worried about you right now because you're just getting ready to explode.
I've been wound
this
up
whole first
all morning.
hour. You have just. Is your voice okay?
It's fine.
Are you going to make it another hour?
I am going to make it. I'm going to make it for the audience. I'm going to do what I got to do. I'm going to sports hard. And I don't know, man. I might get driven through the wall. Who knows? I'm on edge right now.
There's a brick wall you're about to put your head through.
We got Aiden Ducker. We got Jerry Plemons with
Cougars,
us.
I love Cougars.
At 10:30.
Didn't like him last night.
No. At 10:30, we have Mario Herrera Jr. of InsideTheStar.com. We're going to talk some Cowboys with him. The cool thing about Mario, listening audience, is I know him like I don't know. I've never met Mario in person, but I've known Mario long enough on like social media.
I am ESPN
on this
group.
Facebook sports group we're in that I feel like I know him. We're friends on social media. I see his life through social media. I feel like I know him, and he writes about the Cowboys. So I extended a vine and said, hey, man, let's talk some boys. So that's going to come up at 10:30.
He represents Alice.
Represents Alice pretty hard.
Even though most of that group was, 95% from Kingsville?
That is true. And also, he won our March Madness Bracket Challenge 2 years ago.
Oh.
Who won last year?
Last year?
I know Chris Thomason won in 21.
I forgot who won. And that's because that was like, what? Like 6 months ago? Yeah, I forgot. Damn it.
Remind me about that, because I'm going to put that. I want to sponsor it again.
We will be on that.
Put a prize to it.
Yeah, as March Madness is approaching. All righty, 361-882-5397. If you got any takes, get them in. Takes on Greg Popovich telling the fans to shut up. Takes on Cowboys. Takes on A&M coaching search. All of that. Get them into the text line, 361-882-5397. Right now, though, we got to pick some NFL games. It's week 12, and here is our pick'em contest. As it stands, heading into the weekend, Marcos is up with 63. Marcos, of course, the shadowy figure that looms over this program. Just kidding. He's our good friend. He works hard.
And you know what's funny is that I should not be talking about holding grudges, because I still hold a grudge over James not writing down, because Marcos had an awful week.
He did.
And we would have caught up to him, but no.
Aiden.
Anyway.
Last week, Aiden, you went 2-5. You have 55 total wins.
I think we all did bad, right?
Weister went 3-4. He has 52 total wins, and I went 3-4. I have 52 wins. Me and Weister are tied for last place.
And then how did Marcos do?
Marcos went 6-4. He nailed his upset special.
Yeah, I think us three were high on the Chiefs. He was the only one that picked the Eagles.
Yep, he did. That was the upset he picked. So let's go ahead and let's dive into some games. Jerry, is going to be our guest picker.
Did Alex and Marco send in?
They haven't sent them in yet, but they got to get them in by noon.
We get first dibs on upsets. Let's
we
go.
Do. So first game on the docket, and this one's a huge game in the AFC South. The 7-3 Jaguars visit Houston and face the 6-4 Texans, the red-hot Texans. Jags are the 1.5-point favorite on the road. Aiden Ducker, I'm going to give you the first crack at this one. Jags or Texans, who do you got?
Oh, man. You know, the Texans have been playing very well at home, and they whooped Jacksonville in Jacksonville. However, it's a division game, and I think the Jaguars are going to come better prepared. I like the Texans. I still think they're going to sneak in as that last wild card. Got the Jags in this one, though.
You got the Jags. What about you, Jerry Plemons?
I think the Texans are the surprise of the season, of them being 6-4. Nobody would have thought that. And then CJ looking as good as he is. I think Texans manhandled.
Wow, manhandled.
They
nice.
did the first game in Jacksonville.
So
they dominated them.
They did, and that was kind of the coming out party for CJ. I love the Texans. I love what CJ's done. Love everything about that squad. Texans. I'm taking the Texans, and that's going to be my upset special.
Yes.
Texans over Jags.
Take it from Marcos.
Next on the docket, we got Saints at Falcons. The Saints are 5-5. Falcons are 4-6.
They're both coming off a bye, right?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Who's quarterbacking for the Saints? Do we know yet?
I think it's still Derek Carr,
I think
right?
it's Derek Carr. I don't think there's any injuries as I'm looking at this.
Concussion. He's supposed to,
he did. I'm not seeing anything on the injury report.
so he's probably playing.
But it is Saints. It is Falcons. It is a battle for the NFC South. This one's in Atlanta, and the Saints are a 2-point road favorites. Jerry Plemons, who do you got?
I just don't think much of Desmond Ridder and the Falcons. They don't know what they're doing, so I think the Saints.
Aiden?
Oh, man. The Falcons have been playing. They usually play better at home. I think the Falcons defeated the Saints, though, right, earlier in the year? They played earlier in the year.
I want to say, I don't know.
Oh, man.
That's a good question.
But you know what? I had the Saints winning the division, so I got to stick with that. Give me the Saints.
Let me see. The Saints, they haven't played yet.
They haven't played yet.
They haven't played
Oh,
yet.
the Saints lost to the Bucks.
Yeah, this is their first game. So, but you're going with the Saints, right?
Give me the Saints in this one.
All righty. I'm also going to go Saints. Give me the Saints on the road. I think the Falcons are just a bad team, man.
Yeah.
I trust the Saints a little bit more.
It seems that Arthur Smith, he has all these luck. I mean, the quarterback play's been mid, but, like, he has skill players. He doesn't use them.
Next game on the docket, we have the Steelers at the Bengals. The Steelers are 6-4. The Bengals are 5-5. Steelers are 2.5-point road favorites. A lot of road favorites so far. Bengals are going to be without Joe Burrow for the rest of the season. I believe they're starting
Browning?
Yeah,
Jake Browning.
Jake Browning.
Something named Jake Browning, whoever that is. I hate picking the Steelers because every time I pick the Steelers, they disappoint me. Like they did last weekend. Steelers were disappointed. But I'm going to pick the Steelers today. Give me the Steelers over the Bengals on the road. I think that defense is going to be a little bit too much for the young quarterback. Aiden, who do you got?
Give me the Steelers in this one. Had Joe Burrow still been healthy and playing, I would have picked the Bengals at home. And then the Steelers just fired Matt Canada too. I feel like I gotta go with the team plays better without during a different interim coach.
It's gonna be
even though it's the offensive coordinator, I think the offense is gonna play a little bit better. So give me the Steelers in this one.
Who do you got, Jerry Plemons?
You know what? I'm going to go against you guys. I think the Steelers, I just don't think very much of them. Never have this season. And Browning, he's going to show something. He's been around for a little while. He's been a journeyman. He's going to be one of those type that I think he's going to know what to do when he gets the ball.
Jerry, do you want the guest upset pick?
I will take the guest upset pick with that.
Oh, nice. Let me go ahead and highlight your square on my spreadsheet orange because that is the upset pick. All right, next up we have Browns at Broncos. Browns are 7-3. They got a win with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. They're at the Broncos, who are hot. The Broncos have won, 4 in a row? They're 5-5. Denver is a 2-point home favorite. Do the Broncos continue this momentum and continue to climb up in the AFC playoff race? I'm going to go first. Like I said last week, I'm feeling dangerous.
No.
Gonna eat that sandwich, baby, that brown sandwich. Give me the Broncos. Let's go, Bronco Nation. Let's ride. Who do you got, Jay Plemons?
Oh, that's really hard. That's a hard one to pick because the Browns defense is so good. And
Broncos Nation, let's ride.
I think that the Browns defense is going to keep Broncos in check, and they'll get those points.
So you think the Browns are gonna wrangle up the Broncos?
Yes.
Nice. What about you, Aiden?
I had the Broncos, of course, missing the playoffs, but I had them as a 9-win team.
Broncos Nation,
8 or 9-win team.
Let's ride.
The Browns, they're actually another version of the Steelers where I think they're not as good as the record says they are.
But they have probably top 3 defense in the league.
Is it? I mean,
Myles Garrett is a defensive player of the year candidate.
I mean,
they got a lot of good dudes on that defense, man.
I mean, they've been good most of the year, but there's been games where they've been lit up, like the Colts lit them up. I forgot there was another game where they got kind of lit up.
Fair take. So who do you got?
And it's the Broncos at home in the elevation. Give me the Broncos.
Broncos Nation, let's ride.
Please stop.
Next.
Listeners, y'all should be thankful that we're only in radio format because what I saw James did pretending to munch down a sub sandwich was an absolute travesty to my eyes.
It was a 6-inch sub sandwich.
You're not making things better for yourself.
Chiefs at Raiders. Chiefs are 7-3. Raiders are 5-6. I put this one on the docket because, I mean, to be honest with you, it was Rams Cardinals. It was Pats Giants.
But at least those are 2 games against like they're competitive that we could pick. This is gonna be Chiefs. I'm pretty sure.
Are we all gonna pick Chiefs in this one? Chiefs at Raiders. Chiefs are a 9.5-point favorite.
They're coming off a loss, too, and Mahomes has always lit that Raiders defense up.
I don't know. It's in Vegas.
Okay.
What about you, Jerry?
9.5. Give me 18.5.
Oh my God. Okay. I will go Chiefs as well. I will say something about Travis Kelce though. On Monday Night Football against the Eagles, where the Chiefs absolutely sold that game.
They did.
That Chiefs should have won. Chiefs were held scoreless in the second half. Chiefs had 2 red zone turnovers. Travis Kelce looked, I don't know, he looked sad, heartbroken. Dude's a little bit more emotional than what I'm used to seeing. Taylor wasn't in the building. She's across the world in Brazil. He misses his boo thing, man.
Yeah.
It happens. Look, he misses Tay-Tay. He needs Tay-Tay, baby.
And what's funny, like from what I'm reading, is that the Swifties are actually warming up to Kelsey now.
Yes.
Like they actually like him.
they love Travis. They love Travis.
They saw it was that. No. We're not talking about Taylor Swift anymore. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you, Aiden.
I love
I
you,
gotta
Tay.
stop myself. I just had epiphany came to my head and
Whoa.
told me not to stop.
What?
Okay, let's.
Oh.
We're all picking Chiefs.
Never mind. You said something, but never mind. All right, next game up. Bills at Eagles. This is probably my game of the day. It's 3:30. The Cowboys need the Bills to
Desperately.
beat the
Oh, my
Eagles.
God.
Please, Josh Allen, do not sell. Josh Allen needs to play great today. Bills are 6-5. Eagles are 9-1. The Birds are 3-point home favorites. This is in Philly. It's going to be a tough game for the Bills. I hate to do this, but I'm going to pick the Eagles at home. I think the Eagles are going to win against the Bills. This has Josh Allen 2-interception game written all over it. Ugh, give me the Eagles. Aiden. Is this your upset special? Uh-oh.
No, it's not.
Uh-oh, come on. Eagles have been teetering, man. Eagles are right there.
Go to Jerry first real quick.
Jerry, go ahead.
Well, I'm not confident with it, but Josh Allen, when he has a bad game, he had a bad game last week. He comes back with amazing games, and we need one desperately. I'm going to be the homer. Come on, Bills. You're gonna win. You're gonna win big.
Let's go. I like the confidence from Jerry Plemons. Eagles and Bills, Aiden Ducker.
Give me the Eagles barely. Another one where they sneak on by. They have the Niners and Cowboys back to back, and I think there's going to be some downfall in at least one of those games.
They got a loss coming up.
But
I
think
loss.
The Bills they've been kind of mid. They've been good to mid. They've been in that range.
Yeah.
So give me the Eagles.
One more game to pick, Sunday Night Football. The Ravens are going to try to prove tonight that they are the real deal. They're 8-3, but I feel like hardly anybody talks about the Ravens being a legitimate contender. For some reason, I don't think people see them as that. Just my sense of national media. I don't see a lot of talking heads putting the Ravens in Super Bowl discussions, at least not yet. Ravens are 8-3 at the Chargers 4-6 in Los Angeles. Ravens are 3-point road favorites. I'm going Ravens. Lamar Jackson goes off tonight on that porous Chargers defense. Jerry Plemons, who do you got?
Yeah, I thought the Chargers were going to do something this year, and they have just absolutely stunk. So give me the Ravens.
Brandon
big time.
Staley's on the hot seat.
Yeah, he needs to go.
He better watch out. Who do you got? Are you going Ravens?
I'm going Ravens too. I think I think they're number 2 now, but they still have a top defense. Herbert's gonna have his moments. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I think the Ravens are gonna win by a touchdown.
All right.
Give me the Ravens. I've been high on Belichick's gonna coach the Chargers next season.
Wow.
The offense is good enough for the Chargers. Belichick's just gonna fix the defense. That's always gonna be there for us.
You have not picked an upset. Yeah, Aiden has not picked an upset, ladies and gentlemen. I have the Texans. Jerry has the Bengals. I got Texans over Jags. Jerry has Bengals over Steelers. Who do you have, Aiden Ducker?
Oh man, this is
You don't have an upset special. You need one.
I need one.
And we got to end the segment.
Oh,
Pressure is ticking. Time.
There's 2 games. Oh man, I just give me the Bucks against the Colts.
You're going Bucks over Colts.
Yes.
Okay. That is your upset special. Bucks over Colts.
I was debating on Patriots and Giants, but it's just the Giants. I don't know how Belichick's defenses are usually good against like inexperienced quarterbacks.
You know what they're calling Giants versus Patriots today?
What?
The Stupor Bowl.
I think
calling that.
I think Patriots are going to be all in because they're going to start Matt Jones. I think they'll be all in on Caleb Williams.
So there we go. That wraps up our NFL Pick'em. Get your takes into the text line 361-882-5397. It is our post-Thanksgiving show, episode 141. When we come back, Aiden and I had the pleasure of being at Buccaneer Stadium on Friday evening for Miller versus Victoria West. It was dramatic. It came down to the end. And my goodness, did Doug Kesterson have one of the best calls I've ever heard. We get to all that and more. Texas high school football talk coming up after the break. Sunday Sports Rush, episode 141. James Aiden and Jerry Plemons with you. Jerry, appreciate you being here, man. It's always fun to have Jerry in the studio. Jerry's kind of the yin to my yang. I kind of get a little wound up.
Just a little.
And Jerry's kind of brings me down just a tad bit, a voice of reason, so to speak.
I don't know.
Because Aiden likes to. When I get turned up like that, like I did on Pop and Ross Bjork, Aiden will sometimes stoke the flame, and he'll want more. But I feel like Jerry just kind of brings it to a more level. Like the water's more level when Jerry's in here.
During the Pop rant, I actually didn't want more.
No? You didn't want more nasty?
Nah, I wasn't like 2014 Pop.
Popovich said that this is an indication of the times we live in. We're in a hateful world. Shut up, you bag.
Let's talk about a actual football team that actually shows some nasty.
Yeah, let's talk about a great team, a team that is currently 13-0 here in Corpus Christi, a team who just had a dramatic, down-to-the-wire, last-second, pretty much, comeback victory over Victoria West. It is the Corpus Christi Miller Buccaneer football team, and they are on to the regional final where they will face Brownsville Veterans Memorial Friday night, 7 p.m. in Brownsville at Sam's Memorial Stadium. Ticket information to be released tomorrow for those of you who are interested in attending that game. An amazing contest. I was on the call. Doug was on the call. Alex Weister was on the call. Aiden was roaming the sidelines.
I was on the sidelines. I was the Charissa Thompson of the broadcast.
Yes.
But actually telling the truth, though.
Yeah, not making up reports.
Yeah.
Aiden would send me texts during the game.
I sent videos.
Yep. Aiden did some good stuff for our social media. I posted the game-winning touchdown on our MIC Sports Network, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Did you post a celebration, too?
No, I didn't get to post that one.
Oh, okay.
But I did get the post-game of Coach Evans talking to his team, which did very well. Everybody seemed to like that bit of content. But Miller wins, and they had 57 seconds left. So let's rewind real quickly. Victoria West, with about a minute or so, they're driving. It comes to a 4th and 1 from the 1. 4th and goal from the 1. They're down. Victoria West is down.
Yeah. They could have kicked the field goal. They were down. Yeah. They were down 2 points.
They were down 44-42.
They could have kicked the field goal, which would have given them the lead anyway.
With a minute left in the game at Buck Stadium, from the 1, 4th and goal, they decide to go for it. They get the touchdown. Wow. Boom! They go up 48-44.
One of the gutsiest calls I've ever seen by a head coach.
Courtney Boyce, head coach of Victoria West, gutsy on the road. He said, "We're going to try and win it now." So they go up 48-44. West does over Miller. 57 seconds are on the clock. Miller has no timeouts. None. They got to drive practically the length of the field, about 30. They got the ball at about their 30-yard line or so about 70 yards. They had to go. They get down there. Trevor Long completing passes to Corey Holmes. Trevor Long finding Broderick Taylor. Trevor Long finding Ethan Vela. Just a precision-like drive, almost Tom Brady-esque like comeback right there. The way they just manufactured yards, quick outs to the sidelines, getting out of bounds. West played prevent defense, which is always a sin of mine.
They didn't want to get beat over the top.
But they allowed them to get just down there into range.
The problem is Miller wasn't really beating them over the top at all really during the game. There was that one play with Holmes where he made that really good catch on the sideline. But other than that, I was a little – the defense is kind of like
So Miller gets down. They are on the verge of scoring. There's 14 seconds or so left on the clock. Trevor Long drops back to pass, and then Doug Kesterson, our very own Doug Kesterson, MIC Sports Network, had this call.
Long. Play clock down to 7. Snap. Looking, throwing, end zone, caught. Corey Holmes, touchdown, Miller. Oh, my God, listen to that crowd.
It got crazy in there. That's one of the loudest I've ever heard Buck Stadium.
Yeah,
and shout out to those Miller Buck fans. They packed the house, Jerry Plemons, from bottom row to the top. Miller was well represented that night.
Yeah, and it was funny because Quentin Martinez was in the box next door. You could hear Doug's call through because there's a glass of eye now. You could hear Doug's call through his video.
I liked Doug's just inflection on that last part. Touchdown, Miller! Like he really put it into there.
Now here's the thing, there were I wouldn't probably like
good call, Doug.
5%. There was probably like 5 or 10% of the fans that were starting to make their way to the exit.
Yeah, that was kind of crappy.
But I will say though, I was on the sideline where I was talking to some administrators and people representing Miller. And
big shot over there.
And we were just like, we were doing the math in our head, and we were like, okay, Miller's gonna have the ball with like 50 seconds left, and when knowing this Miller team, they could score in one play. They're that good.
Yes.
So the game is not lost there. And I sort of made the call on the sideline. I was like, if they get a kickoff, if they get a kick return that gets them at least to the 40, they're in good shape. And what does Ethan Vela do?
He does it.
Gets them to the 40, and now things are starting to cook. Now there's life.
Yeah. Just one of the best games I've ever been a part of, broadcast-wise. And, congratulations to the Miller Bucks. They move on to the regional final. They have a really good chance to win the region and go to the state semifinals. Right now, they're part of the Final 8 in 5A D1. So we're rooting for Miller. All of Corpus is rooting for Miller. I would say the Coastal Bend's probably rooting for Miller.
It's such a great story, that program.
Yeah. And Coach Justin Evans, he's one of the best.
Yes.
He's such a cool guy. Talked to him many times. Just awesome. Let's go over some other scores from around the area this past weekend. Liberty Hill ends Flower Bluff season 49-28 in the 5A Division II playoffs. Flower Bluff is out after round 3. In 4A D1, Port Lavaca Calhoun 27, Atlas 14. This is the second consecutive year Atlas has lost to Port Lavaca in the playoffs.
They still had a great year, though.
They did. In 4A D2, Wimberley ends Ingleside's season 63-14. Wimberley's just a unit.
Yeah.
Like year after year, a unit of a team. So Ingleside had a great season. In 4A D2, Sinton defeats Geronimo Navarro 50-14. Sinton will now play Wimberley for the region championship.
Yeah, and Navarro's no slouch either.
It's a good team.
That's a good team. This is the best Sinton team I think I've seen in a while since I forgot who the quarterback was, but I remember Sinton made the state semifinal like a decade ago.
Yeah. I can't remember. It's been a while.
He went to Kingsville. I remember him going to Kingsville. He went for another position. I'll look him up during the break.
You're going to have to look him up for me.
Yeah, the Sinton team's really good now. Wimberley's a unit. I expect Wimberley to win that game. I think Sinton will give him a good game, though.
One more game. Refugio defeated Weimer 42-14 in the 2A D1 round 3.
Refugio's favored to win state, but there's still that Timpson team that's coming that will...
They'll probably meet them in the semifinal.
And then Holly, that team that beat them last year, is going to probably be the team they'll see again.
So there's 3 teams remaining. Miller, Sinton,
and Refugio.
Those are the last 3 here in the Coastal Bend.
Honestly, though, that Miller West, just real quick, that Miller West game was probably the best high school game I've seen.
Yeah.
Like
they had everything. All the dramatics. The late touchdown, Corey Holmes with 4 touchdowns receiving, Trevor Long with 6 touchdown passes, Broderick Taylor with 170 yards rushing and a touchdown. Just everybody contributed, man, and it was a great win. And
is making a broadcast the Miller game any of these?
We will not be on the broadcast. Our season is unfortunately done, but we broadcasted 24 total games, so I'm proud of that. Coming up next, we got Mario Herrera Jr. of InsideTheStar.com. We got Cowboys talk. Keep it locked, Sunday Sports Rush. Sunday Sports Rush, episode number 141. It's James, it's Aiden, it is Jerry Plemons. We're with you till 11 a.m. We got about 30 minutes left in the show. Right now, though, we're not going to waste any time. We have a special guest on the line. He is a staff member, a writer at InsideTheStar.com. He covers the Cowboys. He is one of my buddies from online. Now, we've never met in person, but we've had many conversations about sports, Cowboys, you name it. It is Mario Herrera Jr. Mario, good morning.
Good morning, guys. What is going on?
Hey, man, we're just here living the life, doing our thing, chopping it up about some sports, and excited to have you joining us this morning, Mario. Now, before we dive into the nuts and bolts of the Cowboys, right? 8-3 on the year. We know how dominant they have been over the course of the past 6 weeks or so. I want to ask you something, Mario. How did you get into writing about the Dallas Cowboys? I want to know kind of your origin story so we can introduce you to the listening audience, because you are writing for InsideTheStar.com. You're dropping multiple articles a week. Man, just how did it happen for you?
Honestly, man, it all started on Twitter. I had made a Twitter back in about 2013, 2014, right, when it was kind of starting to get popular. And I actually didn't like it. I was more Facebook.
Can you come again, Mario? You're breaking up just a tad bit, my guy.
I'm sorry. I started off on Twitter, and when COVID hit, I actually I got back into it again for the sports side, you know.
Yeah. Just kind of.
And I actually started writing for Star Boys Network. It was a little up and coming little kind of Cowboys journalism site, and that actually fell through. And then I started doing some podcasting with Talking Boys with the Boys.
Yes, of course. Good friends of ours right there. We've had we've had Mark and we've had Andres and all those guys. We're very familiar with those dudes.
Yeah, so that really helped get my name out there. And I was actually contacted. I applied for a staff writer position. Back. I sent him in some samples of my writing, and he's like, "Hey, man, let's give it a shot, see how it goes." And I've been there ever since the beginning of May.
We're here with Mario Herrera Jr. of InsideTheStar.com. Mario, we are getting just a tad bit of what would you say, Aiden? You're the producer back there.
Kind of like he's talking in a bathroom. Not like a bathroom, but like you're talking in an area where like the acoustic, like you can hear like an echo.
Just a tad bit of feedback, my guy, but it's all good. Hey, man, well, look, your origin story, mine started on Twitter also, believe it or not, with Doug Kesterson, who's our program director here at Keys. I was just shooting out hot takes. You know me, man. I have hot takes galore. I say what I feel. And, of course, Doug sent me a direct message that said, hey, would you like to be on the radio program, you know, kind of like a tryout? And that's kind of how it happened, man. Look, social media, for as much as it can be very crappy at times, very toxic at times, it does have some benefits, I guess you could say. So we're here at Mario Herrera Jr., InsideTheStar.com. Mario, let's go ahead. Let's dive into some Cowboys, my dude. Cowboys sit at 8-3. Cowboys have been doing quite well over the past month or so. From what you have seen, Mario, based on the offense, where has this thing turned around? What has the offense done in the past month and a half that they were doing differently when they were struggling?
Well, I think it starts, you can take it straight from the horse's mouth, but Dak Prescott says he feels more comfortable with the offense. And we could see early on in the season, you know, these new concepts of the Texas Coast offense, if you will, you know, Cowboys version of the West Coast. Dak seemed to be hesitant. And that's not the kind of play that has gotten him to the reputation that he currently has in his 8th year in the league. You can tell that after it's after the 49ers loss, that embarrassing 42-10 loss in week 5. That's where you really saw the offense turn the corner. And you're seeing Brandon Cooks get more involved. You're seeing Kevontae Turpin get more involved. You're seeing Jalen Tolbert get some snaps. And, you know, Ferguson and Schoonmaker up the seams. And it just really, what it is that Prescott is being able to just play loose, it seems now. They kind of taken the reins off a little bit, giving him a little more control with the offense. He has a lot of power to audible, change the play at the line. And that's the type of Dak Prescott that we have seen throughout his career that was kind of capped in the beginning of the season.
You know what? I agree with that. And Jerry Plemons, I don't know if you got any takes on that, but I do feel that the offense, Mike McCarthy and Dak, right? They're a cohesive unit. Brian Schottenheimer, even, you know, he's the offensive coordinator by name, not the play caller. But from what I read, they do have meetings all together and they formulate the game plan. It does seem like this offense really did just kind of loosen up a little bit.
That's exactly right. The loosening up part is what's turned it around.
So I do agree with that, Mario. We're here with Mario Herrera Jr., InsideTheStar.com.
And real quick, I agree with Mario on here. This equates with getting Brandon Cooks going. The first 5 weeks of the season, he was virtually non-existent in the offense. He caught that touchdown against the Chargers, and suddenly things are starting to open up for him a little bit more. And whenever he gets going, that opens up a lot of situations for Dak Prescott to lead this offense to the successful direction I want to go.
Mario, do you have any concerns with Tony Pollard, or have the past couple of games shown you that Tony Pollard is starting to find that juice again?
Well, I think what it is that's the effect of getting Rico Dowdle more involved. Tony Pollard, throughout his career since he was drafted, he's always been the complimentary back. And even though he got the bulk of the carries last season with Ezekiel Elliott still there, it was a kind of a shared load. And there were concerns in the offseason from a lot of content creators like ourselves here that we didn't think Pollard could actually be the bell cow back that the Cowboys wanted him to be with Ezekiel Elliott gone. And I think early on in the season, that was kind of proven true. His yards per carry average is down. His rushes per game is down even as the Cowboys have been throwing the ball more. But if you notice in the past few weeks, ever since Rico Dowdle's been getting some more carries, you have seen the explosiveness come out of him again that has been lacking early on in the season.
Hey, Mario, so we've been down this road before with this team. They look good. They play good teams, and they struggle. We're looking at a wild card spot, possibly, unless the Eagles falter. Do we have any hopes in the playoffs that the Cowboys can actually go on the road and beat a good team? What's your thoughts? As
far as the seeding, we got to be realistic here, guys. Remember we played this game last year where the Eagles were sitting with one loss. They were sitting with one loss, with almost three-quarters of the season gone by, and we're thinking, well, if we can win all our games and they can lose 2 or 3, we'll catch them. Look, the Eagles are a good team, all right? They are 9-1 for a reason. They just knocked off the Chiefs. They have knocked off the Dolphins in their high-powered offense. They get to go against Josh Allen and the Bills tonight, who have been struggling. I don't see any reason they won't leave this week 12 not being 10-1. And we have to really start thinking about locking up that 5th seed.
Hey, I agree with you, man. I agree with everything you're saying right there. And look, the Eagles do have the Bills today. They do have the Niners coming up. Cowboys, of course, they got the Seahawks coming up, and then they meet here in about 2.5 weeks or so. Yeah, man, I mean, look, it'd be a fool's game to try and worry about the Eagles too much, right? Got to kind of take care of your own business first. And hopefully the Cowboys can continue to do that. And right now, it would behoove the Cowboys to defeat Seattle and further pad that 5th spot in the wild card standings, because as it sits, Mario, and you know this, and listening audience out there, they would end up playing the NFC South division champion in the wild card round. Despite that being on the road, that could be a pretty promising situation for the Cowboys. Go ahead, Aiden.
Yeah, and real quick, I mean, this honestly looks like it's almost exactly how last year is going.
Yeah.
With
it's
kind of a carbon copy,
Eagles being the 1 seed, and right now the Niners being the 2 seed. It looks like, if it pan out, you're going to have to go back to the Niners again.
Well, we'll tackle that when we get there.
I will say I do want to get your thoughts, because there's always a lot of debate amongst Cowboys fans and non-Cowboys fans, and even between Cowboys fans as far as how Dak, what Dak is and how he performs and whatnot. And now he's leading the league in touchdown passes. And I want to know, truly, do you think that Dak Prescott is not even going to win the MVP, but do you think he has a major shot at it at the end of the year to be like a top 3 quarterback in terms of the MVP race?
He would have to keep up what he's doing right now. So in this 6-game stretch, he's got 18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's got a quarterback rating of 120+. He's making all the right decisions. The offense looks explosive out there. He has command when he gets to the line. And you have seen some of those things go away against those tough teams like the 49ers defense before. So the level he's playing right now, do I want to go into San Francisco? I want that like I want to burn on my arm, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to have to go through that again. Yeah, I want the whole revenge factor and all that stuff. But we had that revenge factor week 5, and we got our what's handed to us.
You know what, man? I like the path of least resistance. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And if along the way we don't have to go to San Francisco and have to conquer that beast, so be it, right? You just want I think in the end we all just want the Cowboys to kind of have a nice smooth path if it does work out like that. But then again, it is the NFL, and each and every game going forward is going to be pretty tough. Our question of the day, Mario: Cowboys are 8-3. We know the 6 games coming up: Seattle, Eagles, at Buffalo, at Miami, home against the Lions, and then on the road at the Commanders, the Commies, to finish the season. 8-3 right now. How do you forecast the rest of the season going? Give us a final record for the Cowboys.
I think I'll stick with what I had in the preseason, and that's 12-5 for the third year in a row, or 12 wins for the third year in a row.
Which is not bad.
No, it's not bad. I mean, when's the last time a Cowboys team did that?
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the things that it gets, overlooked by Cowboys Nation and its fans out there, when they don't realize just how successful this team has been, despite not being able to make it, past the divisional round.
Thank you, Mario. Thank you for bringing some logical sense towards Cowboys Nation, because, my guy, I say this all the time. I think as a Cowboys fan myself and the majority of the Cowboys fan base out there, there's really high expectations. And I think sometimes we overlook the wins and we worry too much about the destination of where we're going instead of enjoying each win week by week. 12 in this scenario, if the Cowboys were to get to 12 wins again, 3 straight seasons of 12 wins, Mike McCarthy is instilling a winning type of program with the Cowboys. That's something you can be proud of. And look, you want to get to the Super Bowl eventually. Well, guess how you get to the Super Bowl? You got to be in the playoffs consistently. And hopefully one of these years, the ball bounces our way. We're here with Mario Herrera Jr. of InsideTheStar.com. Mario, man, we appreciate your time with us this morning. Quick thoughts on Jimmy Johnson. What'd you think about the Jimmy Johnson finally going into the Ring of Honor, as Jerry Jones had a impromptu press conference 20 minutes before a game? What'd you think about that whole scene?
That's so Jerry, man. to just decide to do it at the last minute of a noon game on the road in Carolina,
It is.
That's the Jerry Jones that we've come to know, right? And I'm really, really glad that he made this decision. I actually wrote an article in the preseason about how Jimmy Johnson not being in the Ring of Honor is a curse, and until that happens, Cowboys won't get any further. So I'm really psyched.
I like that idea.
On another note, I'm really psyched because I am actually going to be at that game.
Oh!
I got tickets for, my uncle has season tickets, and he was he was willing to sell some. So he's like, "What game do you want?" And I said, "You know what? Let me get the Lions in December. That'd be a pretty cool game. I like Dan Campbell and the style of his team and stuff. It'd be a real hard fought with playoff implications." And then last week, me and my dad are watching the game, and they announced about Jimmy Johnson. And I'm like, "Dad, I'm going to be there. This is freaking awesome."
That is incredible how that worked out, man, for you and your family and such. And, of course, Cowboys Nation, Jimmy Johnson finally get in. I like the take that it was a curse. Yeah. Maybe the curse is lifted. Maybe good things are to come for the Cowboys. Maybe Jerry Jones finally, in his old crypt keeper-like state, said, "Hey, I only have about maybe a few more years left. I need to make good with Jesus and get Jimmy Johnson into the Ring of Honor."
There's a lot
maybe
more.
He finally woke up.
There's several more things he needs to make good with. Before.
Well, he does have a lawsuit right now going on with his fun baby, but, it is what it is. Yeah. Mario Herrera Jr., InsideTheStar.com. My guy, thank you for joining us this morning. Where can we follow you on Twitter, and where can we find your work?
Well, you can always find my work at InsideTheStar.com. I write approximately 5 articles per week.
Wow.
So you can't miss them. And you can find me, you can go follow me on Twitter if you like Cowboys content, kind of little informal Cowboys takes. I'm always throwing stats up there on my timeline. You can find me at _STX Mario.
There we go. Man, we got to do this again sometime soon. And keep up the grind, my guy. I see you out there doing your thing, and I'm pretty happy that you're finding success with your passion, which is to cover the Cowboys and write about it, my dude. So there we go. Mario, have a great rest of your Sunday, my guy.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yes, sir. There goes Mario Herrera Jr., InsideTheStar.com. That was fun. Like I said, it was more of a conversation than an interview.
Could you do that 5 articles a week?
That's a grind.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that he, as a Cowboys fan, acknowledges like the Eagles are a legit good team. There's Cowboys fans out there that say that they're a fluke and they're winning all these close games. Wins are a win in the NFL. You take them how you get them.
Yeah, they are. And the Eagles on Monday night with that win against the Chiefs on the road. That's the sign of a great team. And I'm not going to dispute that. And I appreciate Mario Herrera for being on InsideTheStar.com. Make sure you go and check out all his fine work. When we come back, We only have one segment left. It's a sports grab bag. Who knows what we'll talk about? Stick around. Find out. Once again, Sunday Sports Rush. Last segment, it's James, Aiden, and Jerry Plemons with us. Jerry, you're with Crossroads.
Yes.
What are y'all guys up to right now?
Well, again, we've got some really good studies starting, and the way to be a part of it is, and make some extra money for those Christmas gifts you want to get, is to come talk to us. Either go by 3cra.com or give us a call at 361-288-4668. You'll come by our office. We're at 1010 Ohio. We will do some paperwork, draw some blood, see if you qualify for any of our studies. And if you do, you can walk home with some money, up to $100 per visit.
Hey, $100?
$100.
$100 is $100 you didn't have.
Yes.
That's a good deal right there. Crossroads Clinical Research. Thank you, Jerry Plemons, for your support from the beginning. We just had Mario Herrera Jr., InsideTheStar.com on. Thank you to Mario for being on. Great stuff, talking Cowboys. We will have our podcast uploaded shortly after the show, so make sure you go and subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, all of those places where you can find your podcast. Search Sunday Sports Rush. Hit that subscribe, rate us, give us 5 stars, please. And then, enjoy content at your disposal whenever you'd like. All right. Texas Tech and Texas.
How'd you not go the whole show without bringing this? I was hoping we can make another 5 minutes.
There
but
was
I guess
so much going on this weekend with Pop and mostly Pop and the Cowboys doing really good.
College football.
Yeah. Number 7,
Frenzy.
Texas 57, Texas Tech 7.
Was that the fun? I thought it was going to be
57-7. Texas Tech ends their miserable season at 6-6.
still bowl eligible.
Still bowl eligible.
Still
Yes,
bowl.
I'll give them that. They'll go to the I don't even know, whoevercares.com bowl.
Yes.
But they'll be there.
The famous Idaho Potato Bowl.
Sounds pretty good. Texas is 11-1 going to the Big 12 title game, right? This was a game that was circled on the calendars because of the Texas Tech Foundation little luncheon they had with Brett Yormark, commissioner of the Big 12, pretty much telling the Texas Tech fan base, I want you guys to go into Austin and beat the Longhorns and send them out with a loss to the SEC. Jerry Plemons, thoughts on the game on Friday night? Thoughts on Texas Tech, period?
Well, it was a disappointing season. You know, we all had hopes for Joey McGuire that he had a good team. They were actually, in some polls, they were ranked in the top 25, and they just never recovered from that Wyoming
And I
loss.
remember they played Oregon pretty tough.
They did.
Too.
They almost beat them. They were playing with.
But I know UT fans are all like, we blew out Texas Tech. Oregon barely beat them.
Another mark towards Texas for the playoffs, right?
I guess.
I'm just saying, common opponents. They look at that, common opponents. But yeah, you know, I will say this about the rivalry period between Texas and Texas Tech.
Was it really a rivalry?
Well,
I mean, we hoped that it was going to replace A&M, but it never did.
It was a rivalry in the sense that I guess we all got dreams and aspirations, and Texas Tech's aspiration was to be a rival of Texas. So it's a rivalry in that sense. But look, I will say this. Y'all guys had one of the more monumental wins in the series, 2008, Michael Crabtree.
Yes.
Y'all guys did that to Texas, a Texas team that was on the verge of going to a national championship. Y'all guys did that.
And it's been downhill since.
But still, and y'all guys have had y'all guys beat Texas last year.
Right.
And the only reason, and Texas Tech could have made the championship game, but y'all sold against Oklahoma.
That was
so bad that Oklahoma got the tiebreaker over all 3 teams. So.
And another thing, you know, even the basketball rivalry got pretty good over the past few seasons.
Yeah, with the coaching.
With Chris Beard and forgot the guy who y'all just fired. But he took over for Beard. Anyways, it was pretty good. It was pretty spicy. Texas Tech and Texas.
3-pointer away from winning the championship in basketball.
Yeah. I will miss this week. I will miss Tech versus Texas.
But it's going to be replaced with A&M versus Texas.
It will, and that's fun, and that's good, and the Longhorns will start whipping up on the Aggies like they traditionally do. But it's still one of those things. I'm just gonna miss these little things.
Patting Texas Tech in the head, saying, "Oh, bye, little guy. We're gonna miss you as we go to the better world. We're leaving you
Maybe
behind."
a non-conference game can be scheduled every now and again. I don't know, but Texas versus Texas Tech is a thing of the past now, as Texas dismantles them 57-7.
How do you? I mean, Baylor's a thing of the past. How do you feel about that? This is it for you guys.
I will miss those games. Like I said, I'm gonna miss playing the Baylors. I'm gonna miss playing the Texas Techs, the TCUs of the world. I'm just I'm going to miss Texas being in a predominant Texas conference.
Yeah, you're going to miss losing to Kansas, a bad Kansas team.
Yeah. Well,
y'all lost to them a little bit more. Yeah,
lost to them, yes, a couple years ago.
No, and remember
destroyed them this year.
No, well, I'm just saying it's been there though.
It's there. It's there. Speaking of some Texas college football news, the Houston Cougars just fired Dana Holgorsen.
Yeah, and Dave Aranda's also on the hot seat too. Although it's more than likely he'll survive for one more year.
If the Aggies don't go after Jeff Traylor from UTSA, Baylor or Houston seem like logical choices for a step up for Jeff Traylor. I'm just saying. I know I've been championing Jeff Traylor strong, but dude is a hell of a coach. He's turned around that UTSA program. He deserves to coach in a Power 5 conference.
Can he recruit, though?
Yeah, I mean, he's recruited in San Antonio.
Does he have the name to recruit?
He does. He's a multiple-time Texas state champion. He's very connected with the Texas High School Coaches Association. That dude can recruit his arse off. And he's done well for San Antonio. I think Houston will be a good fit.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good fit. Big 12, Houston. Be nice. So there we go. That wraps up our show today. Podcast coming up. Spotify, Apple, Google, all that stuff. Shortly after the show, subscribe, Sunday Sports Rush. Appreciate everybody for being on. Text line, everything. Mario Herrera Jr., InsideTheStar.com. Good stuff. We'll have his interview podcasted as well. Jerry Plemons, thank you for being here.
Happy to be here.
Yes. Love having Jerry here. Aiden, good job.
Yeah.
Awesome job. Yes, sir. For Aiden Ducker, Jerry Plemons, I am James Espinosa. We got no more questions. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll talk to you next week.